Hello, everybody. It's me, X-Ray44, and welcome to the second guide on Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time. This part, I'm going to be going over how to actually do good at this game's combat. So, I'm going to start off with just a quick overview of how things work. Don't skip this part, because guess what? The game doesn't teach you about most of its actual core mechanics. First thing you need to know about this game. See how I'm not dodging? See why I didn't take damage? Yeah. So, just like the first game, my God, just like the first game, using your charge attacks completely gives you complete invincibility throughout the duration of the skill. It is frame one, so as long as you time things right, using your specials will give you, the ability to dodge any attack. That is the basis for how you play every class in this game, for the most part. Let's go over the actual kit for all of these characters. First up, we have Paladin. Just like in the first game, the devs favoritized Paladin hard. It is by far, without a shadow of the doubt, the best class in the game. They've got massive AoE through their special skill, and later on, they get stupidly high special skill charge rate, considering how special skills in this game were buffed to now put enemies into a knockdown state, allowing you to get free damage off, is really good. On top of the fact that paladins could also self-heal. And also, yes, it is a special. Using your defensive buff here does negate damage. Here, show it out. See? Oh, no, timed it wrong. Yep, see? You can negate damage just like that. So, paladins are really good. They're able to straight up heal while dodging now. So paladins are outright just very simple to play. They have an insane kit with a lot of utility to it. They do a lot of damage, and of course, they have the fastest attack speed out of any class, meaning they, aside from the fact that they get special skill charge rate as part of their skill tree, just naturally will charge up special skills even faster than the other classes. You also, with Paladin, have a block, parry, and riposte. Now, for blocking, if you time it perfectly with putting the shield up, you will negate damage. After taking a hit, if you put the shield down, you'll do a decently strong counter hit. As strong as the hit with that is, it does not have the range and AoE of your standard charge slash, so when it comes down to actually clearing out dungeons and areas and boss fights and whatnot, you want to be using your charge slash regardless. Next up, we have by far the worst class, which I haven't even bothered to level up at all, is mercenary. Mercenary is notable for being the only class in the sequel here that is weaker than its Fantasy Life 1 variation, which is pretty funny considering how it wasn't even that good of a class in the first one. So, as you saw with Paladin, where they got 20% damage here, Mercenary only gets 20 attack, and in general, the rest of their skill tree is as equally as unimpressive. They get a bit more damage output, a little bit more damage output, nothing too notable, and their main driving thing that makes Mercenary, the class you want to pick is their ability to do a temporary damage buff. Now, I believe doing this buff does give you invincibility. Okay, no, it does not. Yeah, Mercenary does not have any type of defensive ability for their R button. They just get a flat, or it might be multiplier. I have not tested it. Either way, Mercenary has a slower attack speed than all the other classes, and because of the way the damage formula in this game works, stacking straight attack is actually less efficient on bigger weapons. So, despite the fact that Mercenary might have the highest attack stat, its DPS is still relatively meddling, and they, again, have no range. Like Paladin. That's a really big problem. Yeah, so in short, You probably don't want to play mercenary. You can. You're just going to have to be really dependent on just getting up close and hitting those heavy swings. Or Dragon's Fang. They're basically the same skill. All right, next up we have Hunter, which in the second game was by far the second best class. Now, while they are, once again, really strong in this game, now they're probably tied for second place with Mage. Mage is also pretty good. We'll go over that later. But Hunter is pretty weird. Their skill tree is kinda not that great. They don't get a lot of good abilities here. They get like all of like the standard generic stuff, which is good. Stamina, of course, is the first thing you should be getting with any class, which is, all right. They get more damage with this, but it is still just like in the first game, Hunter struggles with damage output. And now that Paladin and Wizard have a lot more utility, Hunter's niche of having sleep arrows and whatnot is not nearly as big. However, in exchange, the one buff Hunter did get is the amazing dodge roll. This is as fast as moving around with a mount. You are invincible the entire time. You have no delay on how often you could do this. There is, I believe, like a few frames in between where you are vulnerable in between, but it is insane how good this dodge roll ability is. It makes up for all of the shortcomings that Hunter has purely through this alone. It's going to have a very different playstyle on account of Hunter's charge skill being pretty bad. It doesn't hit directly in front of you, so you do actually have to play it from range, but it is still an AoE skill, meaning it has some amount of utility. And of course, their heavy attack is by far the best heavy attack in the game, shooting out a massive barrage of arrows, which, as you know, big AoE multi-hits are pretty good. So in general, Hunter is probably the most out there class to play. It's got a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Personally, I would say that it is either really beginner friendly or not very. It's kind of hard to say because if you're not used to using your specials in order to dodge their attacks, it does have the very amazing skill of being able to dodge roll like this, which is also just great for moving around dungeons and whatnot. This is faster than your running speed. It is comparable to how Faust Mount moves. It's insane. You will be generally struggling with damage output, especially since Hunter weapons, while they do have a decent damage, motion value, just like long swords, they do have the weakest base weapons out of any class, which does come back to bite them with their generally weaker moveset. Overall, solid class. You won't go wrong playing it. Now we're going to move on to the next one. Mage. Mage was probably the class that got the biggest buff in this game. In the first game, I could say without a doubt, it was the weakest combat life. It had decent damage and absolutely nothing else going for it. And because of the way the damage formula in this game works, it didn't actually have that much better damage compared to Paladin. It was a lot easier to build, but that is no longer the case. It is now actually just good. You get pretty solid magic attack. You get the best capstone ability down here, which is you got faster charge attacks and more charge attack damage. So you're going to be able to hit things really hard, really often, and stay invincible for longer than any of the other classes. On top of that, I actually could switch to the right job. On top of that, Mage has, well, actual utility now. You have the ability to use both a defensive and healing spell in addition to your normal, damaging special. Don't bother with the defensive buff. It is not worth it. However, the healing in this game was buffed, severely needed buff. You're now actually pretty capable of handling your own health with nothing more than stamina potions. If you're a mage, you basically get to get rid of any need for healing items as soon as you come out of the gate. This is one of the earliest abilities you could get, and it is super useful. That being said, it is a little cumbersome to switch between things, and you are not able to use your specials while in this menu, so I will warn you about that. But in all, pretty strong. Damage output is obviously going to be dependent on getting a lot of the later game abilities, but they by no means will be struggling. They get this super nice freaking AoE crowd around them, gives them the ability to just keep away super nice. It's super long range, even against these massively higher level enemies, all of them targeting me. I can just push them away all day long. So you've got a lot of different things you could do with Mage now. It's got a super versatile kit, and is just generally, the more I look at it, the more I think that it probably is etching out over Hunter. But again, Hunter plays very differently from the other lives, so I will need to probably converse with Violent Turnip a little bit, see how they end up going between the two, because they are not a fan of Paladin meta. But now I'm just going to show you just a quick little bit of combat and give you an explanation of how you should actually be handling things when you are in a fight. I can actually go through the right menu. So, take on this big guy and just show you how to do things good. In general, just take things slow. If an enemy is attacking you, let them finish out their animations. Taking a straight hit here and there is fine, but obviously, now that you do have a dodge roll in this game, basically you are able to chain it frame one out of your specials. Doing so does in fact mean that you're invincible the entire time. So as long as you buffer it, you'll be perfectly safe the entire time, allowing you to get out of severely tricky situations. And as I said, really good for multiplayer with the, it's there. Make sure you stock up on a lot of SP potions, because playing optimally means you're going to blow through stamina like nothing else. Yeah. It is really that simple. It's 2 a.m. Just wait for it to come off, and bang. As soon as the enemy starts moving, you just let out your special. Oh, I'll even approach while they're doing their big warning AoEs, because it is just that simple to do. And that is my very short, brief, comprehensive guide on how to be good at combat in this game. Obviously, I don't have all of the live abilities unlocked, so possibly with a little bit, stuff later, suit things to your own needs, but in general, that should generally cover how you need to approach most of the harder battles in this game, particularly some of the arena fights, which are very much worth it.